I'm Manolo Akpoido, and this is Daybreak Live on Dominion Television, Ibadan. We begin in the southeast, where a fresh political wording has entered the national conversation. A lawyer to IPOB says Nnamdi Kanu's continued incarceration could influence the 2027 elections in the region. Is this a political reality or a pressure strategy, or perhaps a signal of deeper unrest? And what does it mean for voter participation, regional stability, and national cohesion? That is our Daybreak gist this morning. We'll also bring you the weather reports and shortly after Daybreak News with the major stories affecting Nigeria and the wider world.
Definitely, in Amuluayemi Adelakon. We then turn to the newspaper headlines. The front pages reflect a country-ready positioning for 2027, with strong opinions on zoning, power rotation, and constitutional right. We'll examine the arguments, the political undertones, and what they suggest about the road ahead with our analyst, Afolami. And then our big story further deepens the conversation with the topic. It is the South's turn, regional equity versus democratic right. Is power rotation a stabilizing political tradition, or does it conflict with the principle of open democratic competition? Where should the balance lie between fairness and freedom of choice? Joining us for that discussion is Ignatius Aboselime, researcher and public affairs analyst.
And before we wrap up, Trend Watch will spotlight the conversations gaining traction across the country today.
Definitely. It promises to be a thoughtful and engaging morning.
Absolutely. So let's get started, shall we?
Definitely, for sure. Good morning to you, Hannah.
Good morning to you.
Definitely. And then straight to the Daybreak just this morning. What we are looking at is saying Nnamdi Kanu's incarceration will affect election and Southeast, and that's coming from IPOB lawyer, Jimako, the legal consultant to Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra. And then he made this bold claim, and of course you know that when issues like this come up, some Nigerians will agree and some Nigerians will say, okay, no, this has nothing to do with the election. But then can we go from what we know to what we don't know? I think that we have quite a number of APC governors currently. Some are seeking for second term, some are not seeking for second term. I think the likes of the Imo State governor Opuzodinma is not seeking for second term, but the governor of Ebonyi State is seeking for second term, and of course Peter Mba of Enugu is also seeking for second term. And let's now go to the governors who are not members of the APC. Let's talk about Alex Oti of the Labour Party, who is also seeking for second term. And let's talk about Chukwuma Soludo of Anambra State, who won second term last year. That's 2025. So at the end of the day, some Nigerians feel that whether or not Nnamdi Kanu is released, it will not determine the next election. Some are even saying the major thing or the major region that determines who wins presidential election is the north. But then we cannot rule out, the fact of the southeast
Yes.
as well. I mean, they have their numbers too, but then we cannot compare it, to the northern part. So Aloy Ejimako coming out to say that, the fact that, Nnamdi Kanu is being detained, in the Sokoto Correctional Center is going to affect, the election result, especially in the southeast, because he feels that, a lot of Nnamdi Kanu supporters will not vote for this current administration. Most of them feel like, he's being held, in an unjust manner, of course, in that Sokoto Correctional Center. And I remember that, recently, a few months back, there was an attack close to where he's been held, and then, of course, he filed, a case in court to say, I want to get it transferred, and according to law, he has every right to do that. But then the court did not grant him that transfer. So these are the issues. And I also recall that even politicians, even people that are not from the southeast, they are begging the president or appealing to the president to please pardon him because he's been sentenced to life imprisonment. There was even a particular man that came out to say that he knows how to get Nnamdi Kanu out of the prison if Nnamdi Kanu can show remorse. So these are the issues. At the end of the day, I think President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a super strategist. He knows what to do if at all he wants enough votes in the southeast. Because at the end of the day, there are certain things that Nigerian citizens do not understand nor see, because politicians know what is best for them. They know what can help them win election, and that's why you see some politicians, they will align with some persons, and you as a person, as an ordinary Nigerian, you want wondering, why is it that this person is leaving this party for this party? Why is this person aligning with these people? But they know what's best for them. They know what will help them win the election. So good luck to the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, whether it's going to be released before the elections or not. And then I think, in any way, I think it's a major campaign too for the opposition parties, even not just the president now. They can campaign with this Owing and the Kanu issue to see that, okay, we're going to get him out if we come in. And of course, the APC can also say, okay, we can actually get him out before the election. At the end of the day, may the best man win the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's very spot on, like you would say. Well, if you have to consider that there's really no part of the system that is not consequential, even if you think your eyes is the smallest or one of the smallest organs or body parts in your body, is still very pivotal to you. See, it's very important for you to even be alive in the first instance. But I would like to take it, just slightly from where you began. In the country, this is not even just about regions now. We've seen the case from 1999 to now. We've seen historically that there's been a low voter turnout in the country from that time to this time. And many reasons are responsible for that. But also, according to a particular study that I, perused recently, it shows that there is a correlation, a direct correlation between voter turnout and electoral fraud, in the sense that the implication is the more there is electoral fraud, an increase in electoral fraud would result to a decrease in voter turnout. And this is the case in Nigeria. We've seen this time and again. In fact, I have a data to prove that, showing the percentage of voter turnout in Nigeria's general elections, from 1999 to date. So I think I'll just go through a bit of that. I discovered about 52.26% was voter turnout in Nigeria in 1999. Then it increased in 2003 to about 69%, and after then it dropped. It started dropping from 2003. 2007 was 57.54%, and also it drops again. 2007, 2011 it dropped, 2015 it dropped, 2019 it dropped, and significantly now from where we were to 26% is what we have at the last general election. So this tells the story of a decline in voter turnout. We might not, there are a lot of reasons, there are a lot of things we might think about to say that happened. Now, this would be the case especially for Aloy Ejimakor. Some have said, like you also mentioned, that this could be a tool in the hands of political parties to say, we will get you amnesty, we'll get you something, we'll get you out of that place. You need to give us these numbers. Of course, maybe to appease to the people who are supporting, but it's still a divided opinion, because some sects do not believe, even in the Southeast, do not believe Nnamdi Kanu is doing something for them. They still do not, tally along with him. But it's okay. But let's just say a good number of persons believe in his cause and all of that. Well, wherever we promise that, we have to promise something more, because Nnamdi Kanu doesn't just want a release. He wants to have his claims, IPOB, to be disintegrated from the system, and that's exactly his claim. So even if you grant him a bill or something, it might still come back to that. So a lot of people will be, maybe political parties will be scared that, do we want to sign this? Is this something we want to sign? Because we know that's like breaking the country into two, splitting the country. So that's still a conversation. Meanwhile, I was trying to go through if this would really hold water. I mean, what Aloy Ejimakor said, especially with regards to the number of voter turnout we have in the Southeast particularly. I went to do a bit of study too, and I discovered that, of course, I think in the last election they had about 10.9 million registered voters. Only 10.4 million voters collected their PVC, but that was not enough. This is now the case. Now, the turnout comparison is that the region's 22.3% turnout was actually significantly lower than places like the Northwest, North Central as well. The northern zones, for example, the North Central had about 32%, way above them, and Northwest as well, 32.6%. So we can judge from this to say it might not be so consequential to depend on or to look at, to do everything possible to get votes out of the Southeast, owing to the antecedents, owing to history and how much people believe in the electoral system in the country, to say they would vote in that region. But again, not to discount what he said, that there's a chance that if he gets released or he doesn't get released, it's going to affect election come 2027. And it's something that we might also need to think about. Now, in the 2023 Nigerian presidential election, for example, the Southeast region recorded a total of about 2.1 million votes, across board, and 2.1 to 2.2 according to data that we have right with me now. And then so you can see that that region, particularly the southeast region, is the lowest in terms of all of the regions. You have to consider there are 5 states in the region. You understand? Anambra, Abia, Ebonyi, and then Enugu and Imo State, of course. So all of them, I think I have how much or how well they voted at the last election. Anambra, 613,000. That's little. Imo State, 467,380. Enugu, 451,087 votes. Abia State, 370,037 votes, and Ebonyi State is 318,965 votes. And that's, for example, Kano, for example, at the last election had about 1.7 or 1.9 million votes. Just Kano as a state. So, I mean, so that one state can actually almost cut into two what we have, because we have 2.2 million at the most in Southeast. Just the state is having 1.7. So you can imagine how much of gap they might need to cover to get to that point. But it's still a conversation to say whatever number, even if it's 2, 3, 4, because all of those 4s and 3 can decide an election, right? If you have to discount them, then you have to bear the consequence of that. So anybody that wants to really do well might actually think of the Southeast. But how do you think of Southeast without Nnamdi Kanu? I think that's one of the conversations. Is it possible to get votes out of the Southeast without releasing Nnamdi Kanu? Because we understand the situation on ground, which I think Aloy Ejimakor did not allude to, is that it's more of a legal issue than it is a political issue. If you want to put the hands of politics, it's not impossible. This is Nigeria. We've seen that in recent times. We've seen where the hand of politics will stretch into into the judicial system to do something, to manipulate something. We've seen that before. But I'm saying that if you have to say you must release or you should release this person for us to have, it is not even about, because even if they would release him now, there's a court injunction. There's something there's a legal aspect to that might be more serious for anybody to just say, oh, we want to release you. Because you have to consider the legal standings, the legal jurisdictions, and all of those things that are involved in this particular litigation, if I may put it that way. So you can understand that it might not be so easy for anybody to just make that claim, to say, we will promise you Nnamdi Kanu to return, and then we can also party to say, you give us some votes and all of that. So maybe a lot of parties might not think in this direction, to think, this might really mean so much for them. Because even if you have to go back to court to say we want to get him released, it might not be as fast, as swift as you expect. So that's even a thing that a lot of people say, when are we having him? Because they want him maybe before elections, right? Even if you want to make that process to make it swift and fast, it might still not be possible within that time frame. Election is just a few months away. So to promise him and to bring him back is another conversation that might be difficult for a lot of parties. But I would say generally that I think there could be a solution to Nnamdi Kanu's case, but a lot of things will have to be involved. I think many persons are begging for his pardon, others are saying many things. But I think at the end of the day, they can come to a conclusion to say, we want to have this. But it has to be that Nnamdi Kanu, maybe allege, or I don't know how best to put it, we just concede to say there's no IPOB again. But that is not, I'm not sure Nnamdi Kanu still wants to go back to that position to say there's no, because I think it's something he believes so much in, even to the point of death. We've seen some of his members as well saying that whatever the case is, we stand by you, even to death. And that's a conversation that needs to be. But some have also said someday, somehow, Nigeria might need to split. There might be that splitting of the country, but we never can tell now until that happens in the country, and I think that's a good way to look at it from my end.
Okay, speaking about splitting, really, I don't think that's what Nigeria needs at this point in time, because even now that Nigeria is together, I mean, we are seeing some persons, who don't feel among, especially when they go outside of the country, they don't align with this country. And speaking about his release, if there's anyone who can actually pardon Nnamdi Kanu, it has to be a ruling government. So it can either be this current administration, or let's just assume that another administration, comes in. I think that's the best person that can actually pardon Nnamdi Kanu. So the reason why some persons feel it can be a campaign tool is, okay, they can tell you, maybe the opposition parties now that can tell you that, okay, in case we're coming, we are going to ensure that he's released. And of course, it's also, as a matter of fact, I think is more better for this current administration to say we have what it takes, we can actually release him. So if Aloy Ejimakor is trying to say that if this administration wants to gather more votes than the last election in the Southeast, they can actually release Nnamdi Kanu, pardon him, and of course, that will cheer a lot of persons up to say, okay, we want to vote for this current administration. But at the end of the day, politics is more like gamble. So because I think this election that is coming up in 2027 next year is something that the world has not seen before. It's going to shock a lot of persons because, I mean, it's a dynamic one compared to the elections that we have seen in the past, especially when some individuals and some politicians feel like, it is still the turn of the South, and every other person should just come down and allow the South to rule for 8 years. So these are the issues. Just like I mentioned, there was a time that the entire Southeast was dominated by the People's Democratic Party, even when APC was waxing strong, I mean, as a political party. But then all of a sudden, this administration came in, and then we are seeing governors defect from the People's Democratic Party to the APC. There was even a time that even the South was dominated by the People's Democratic Party. I mean, you can tell for years, it was dominated by the People's Democratic Party. Talk about Bayelsa and, quite a number of other states in that region. But suddenly, miraculously, we saw that, it became dominated by the APC. So you cannot really tell what this, administration, is trying to do or can achieve. Because at the end of the day, politics and, of course, winning election, just like I mentioned, is more about alignment and interest. I recall that in the last general elections, a lot of persons were afraid for Seyi Makinde. Why? Because he was seeking for second term, and then he was supporting President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Some felt he was not going to win the election, but surprisingly, he won because he was able to calculate the things people can see and the ones they were unable to see. Politicians know what is best for them. So at the end of the day, just like I mentioned, there are some governors seeking re-election, in the APC, and they are governors of the Southeast. At the end of the day, it depends on how President Bola Ahmed Tinubu can woo them to himself. And then it depends on how the opposition parties can also speak to them. And let's not even forget that even in the Southeast, there are quite a number of persons who do not, align with this whole IPOP thing, separatism move, let us secede and things like that. So these are the issues. But then let's not forget the fact that Nnamdi Kanu is a big shot in the Southeast. And of course, in a way, it might determine how the election results will play out. Maybe not the entire Southeast, because at the end of the day, just like I mentioned, we have APC governors there. We have people there. We have Labour Party there, Alex Oti, and of course, he has said several times that he's not going to leave the Labour Party. So we have several factors that can determine who is going to win the entire Southeast in the next election. So let's not even conclude. I think it's too early. At the end of the day, speaking about we are going to pardon Nnamdi Kanu can change a lot of things. Let's not even deceive ourselves, because a lot of persons, we feel, okay, because you want to release this man to us, I'm going to vote for you. While some persons don't even care whether you release Nnamdi Kanu or not, they're going to vote for whosoever they want to vote for. So it's something that we should really expect. And at the end of the day, just like we mentioned, most politicians are more concerned about the North, the vote. As a matter of fact, some politicians are concerned about the Southwest more than the Southeast because of the numbers that will come from there. Because majority, just like we mentioned, the votes that will always come from Southeast is somehow low. But let's not, maybe there can be a miracle this time around. Maybe because of all the tension going on in the country, the Southeast people can come out more en masse, to vote for their preferred candidate. At the end of the day, good luck to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, good luck to the APC, good luck to the other political parties too, in terms of who is going to, take the larger portion of the vote that will come from the Southeast for the next election.
Yes, I was going to, when you mentioned that is within the prerogative of this administration, the incumbent administration to pardon, and I try to check if it's possible to pardon treason, because that's the offense that we know has been labeled against Nnamdi Kanu. And I saw that it's very possible according to the Constitution. Even while sections 37 and 41 of the Criminal Code Act states that treason is a serious crime and is punishable by death or life imprisonment. So the latter is what Nnamdi Kanu is facing. But constitutionally, actually, sections 175 and 212 The president and state governors have the power to grant pardons or clemency to individuals convicted of various offenses, including treason and treasonable felony. That's exactly according. The recent of cases we have was in October 2025 when the president granted, a posthumous pardon to Major General Mamman Vatsa, who was sentenced to death for a treason charge in 1986. So that's exactly how possible that is. I was just trying to confirm if that would be possible according to the Constitution. But yes,
of course,
it is possible.
It's very possible.
It's possible.
If,
But it's
if it
also
wasn't
within
going to be possible, I don't think a legal consultant, even politicians, learned individuals, would say that the president can actually pardon him. So it is within the rights of, let me say, I don't want to say rights now.
Prerogative of
exactly.
the administration.
The president can actually pardon him, regardless, the charges, I think most of the charges, is based on terrorism, is sponsoring terrorism, and of course, the unrest in the South. So the president can actually do that. So if not this administration, even the current administration can do that. But at the end of the day, it appears that, the likes of Aloy Ejimaka and, of course, people who support him want this current administration to release him because they feel, don't forget, he's been in detention since the time of, Buhari. And as a matter of fact, a particular chieftain said recently that if at all Nigeria does not want him, they can release him, send him back to Kenya or to the UK. Don't forget, recently, I think, he got something with the United States, and then some of his supporters were even celebrating online. So they're saying they can release him and then send him back to Kenya, send him to the UK, or just release him to them, and then they will determine where he's going to stay. So at the end of the day, some are even saying, should the president pardon him, then he has to tone down certain things, because they feel like, because of the things that he said in the past, and that's why, he's caught up in this situation. So it depends. If you know Nnamdi Kanu very well, I don't know if you witnessed a particular court case, where he was sentenced to a life imprisonment. It was a mess, between Nnamdi Kanu and, of course, the judge at that time. And a lot of persons were even angry. Even people from the South, they were angry at what happened in court. And then they felt like, okay, yes, we might not really accept the outcome of this judgment, but then we don't really like what happened in the courtroom. It was a big mess at that time. So really, it depends on Nnamdi Kanu to say, okay, maybe should they release me? I want to stop all of this agitation. I want to focus on myself. I want to travel out of Nigeria. It depends on him, really.
Yeah, so why that's a possibility, right? It's a possibility that it could be released if he wants to tone down his very strong movement and all of that. But that's also up for debate. We can ask him to, because some have also said that Nnamdi Kanu is one person who would not fall to or concede to defeat. Maybe he's still fighting for his cause and he believes he'll fight to death. But that's even another conversation. But I just want to say lastly that at the end of the day, we might need to, this is a very sensitive situation, especially for this administration. To release Nnamdi Kanu means what? It means a lot of presidents can stand up someday somehow against this administration to say Nigeria stops being a unilateral system. We won't split. And it will be the case because there's been agitations. Even before Nnamdi Kanu came, there's been a lot of people saying the same thing, right? But it seems like if they handle the Kanu case well, there could be calm. That's exactly one of the ways you can look at it, to say from the federal government angle to say, if we do this might mean the body language of the government is, we don't mind. You can raise up insurrections, you can raise up the dust somewhere and say you don't want Nigeria to continue as one.
Right.
So that can be a thing. I think that's one of the considerations as well as him going back and saying that whatever it's, because he has a radio station, I remember that they said, and that was where he was broadcasting from, saying very heavy things against the country and saying, I don't want to mention all of those things, but we understand the case. But we hope come 2027, there could be a resolve into all of these things. And probably maybe, just maybe, perhaps, Nnamdi Kanu also would concede to this.
All right, good luck to Nnamdi Kanu and, of course, to those aspiring to become president or retain their seat, in the next general elections. It's time for weather reporting. We start with Ibadan, southwest Oyo this morning. Weather feels like 29 degrees Celsius, and later in the morning is expected to be around 30 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy, around 2%. In the afternoon, 35 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy, around 2%. And in the evening, 28 degrees Celsius, clear, around 4%. And overnight, 26 degrees Celsius, mostly clear, around 4%. And that's what we have for Ibadan this morning.
About 117 kilometers away from where you are to Lagos now. The weather is at 28 degrees Celsius. And of course, that's across board. It's expected to be mostly cloudy day and night as well. And of course, later in the morning, it rises to 31 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy at 4% humidity as well. And then there's just a further rise of 1 degree Celsius to 32 degrees Celsius in the afternoon. And it will remain partly cloudy at 4% humidity. And in the evening, there's a drop to 29 degrees Celsius in Lagos, and the weather will become mostly clear. And overnight, it will also drop to 28 degrees Celsius by 1 degree Celsius as well, to become partly cloudy at 5% humidity in Lagos State, Nigeria today.
Okay, still in the southwest, let's cross over to Ekiti this morning. Weather feels like 24 degrees Celsius, and later in the morning is expected to be around 29 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy around 1%. In the afternoon, there's the sharp rise to 35 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy around 0%. In the evening, it drops to 27 degrees Celsius, clear around 0%. And overnight, it drops further to 24 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy around 3%, and that's what we have for Ekiti this morning.
From Ekiti now to Abeokuta South, today in Ogun State, the weather is going to be cloudy across board at 27 degrees Celsius. And in the morning, it starts at 31 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy at 2% humidity. And the afternoon, a 4 degrees Celsius rise to 35 degrees Celsius, expected to be mostly cloudy. And then in the evening, the weather becomes clear at 29 degrees Celsius, dropping about 6 degrees Celsius down to 29 to become clear. And overnight, it will remain mostly clear, dropping by 3 degrees Celsius to 26 degrees Celsius in Abeokuta South, Ogun State today.
Okay, allow me to take you to Port Harcourt, beg your pardon, Rivers this morning. Weather feels like 22 degrees Celsius, and later is expected to be around 28 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy around 4% in the afternoon. There's a rise to 30 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy around 24%. That's quite massive. And in the evening, it drops to 24 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy around 1%. And overnight, it drops further to 22 degrees Celsius, mostly clear around 3%, and that's what we have for Port Harcourt this morning.
And from Port Harcourt now to Ilorin South in Kwara State, because the weather is fair at 25 degrees Celsius across board. In the morning, it starts at 30 degrees Celsius, expected to be partly cloudy. In the afternoon, there's a significant rise to 38 degrees Celsius, rising by 8 degrees Celsius to be mostly sunny in Ilorin today. And of course, in the evening, there's also a further drop, about 7 degrees Celsius, drop to 31 degrees Celsius, expected to be partly cloudy. And overnight, it drops much further to 26 degrees Celsius, expected to be mostly clear in Ilorin South, Kwara State today.
Okay, let me take you to Suleja, Niger this morning, where the feels like 24 degrees Celsius, and later in the morning is expected to rise to 31 degrees Celsius, mostly sunny around 0%. In the afternoon, we're after the 7 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy around 0%, and in the evening it drops to 28 degrees Celsius, clear and 0%, and overnight it drops further to 24 degrees Celsius, clear around 0%, and that's what we have for Suleja this morning.
And from Niger State to the center of politics in the country, and that's Abuja, Federal Capital Territory, is where I land at 23 degrees Celsius. The weather will be fair across board. And yes, in the morning it starts at 31 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy. In the afternoon, a sharp rise to 36 by 5 degrees Celsius, up a notch to 36 to become partly cloudy. And it drops to 28 degrees Celsius in the evening, and the weather will become clear at that time. It remains clear, dropping by 4 degrees Celsius overnight to 24 degrees Celsius in Abuja, Federal Capital Territory today.
All right, that's how far we can take. Speaking about weather reports this morning, we need to take a short break, and of course, when we come back, we take the news. And of course, don't forget to follow us across our social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast, and of course on X at Dominion Cars. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB Van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live? Like never before. Book the OB Van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
Hello and welcome to Daybreak News on Dominion Television. My name is Anoluakbo Idowu. President Bola Tinubu has nominated the chairman of the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms, Dr. Taiwo Oyedele, as Minister of State for Finance, replacing Dr. Doris Anite Uzoka, who has been redeployed as Minister of State in the Ministry of Budget and National Planning. The President conveyed Oyedele's nomination to the Senate for confirmation in a letter addressed to Senate President Godswill Akpabio, according to a statement issued by Special Advisor on Information and Strategy Bayo Ononuga. As Minister of State for Finance, Oyedele is expected to oversee the implementation of the tax reforms he championed, particularly as the government intensifies efforts to improve revenue generation and deepen economic reforms. The Senate is expected to screen and confirm his nomination in the coming weeks. The federal government, through the Nigerian Christian Pilgrim Commission, NCPC, has announced the immediate suspension of all pilgrimages to Israel due to the security situation in the Middle East. The Executive Secretary of the Commission, Stephen Adegbite, made a disclosure in Lagos during the press briefing shortly after 500 pilgrims landed at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport from the 2025 main pilgrimage exercise. However, he said recent military development in the region have compelled the Commission to suspend further pilgrimages, emphasizing that the safety and welfare of Nigerian pilgrims remain paramount. He cautioned Nigerians against engaging in protests or actions that could escalate tensions arising from the crisis. And moving on, the federal government has announced that full repair works on the Kara Bridge along the Lagos to Ibadan Expressway will resume on Wednesday. The Federal Controller of Works in Ogun State, Layi Komolafe, said authorities temporarily suspended rehabilitation due to heavy gridlock. He explained that replacing the expansion joint in the Kara Bridge outbound Lagos is necessary and cannot be postponed. Komolafe urged motorists and other road users to obey traffic directives to ensure a smooth repair process. However, some officials of the Federal Road Safety Corps, FRC, have expressed doubts about whether the work will resume as scheduled on Wednesday. Oyo State Governor Engineer Seyi Makinde has been commended by residents of Ido local government for its administration's free health mission programs, which provide accessible, prompt, and cost-free healthcare services to residents across the Payseta state. The executive chairman of Ido local government, Honorable Sheriff Aderemi Adiojo, gave the commendation during the one-day stakeholders meeting on high delivery impact project indicators for reproductive, maternal, newborn and child health (RMNCH) held at the Ido Local Government Hall. The state-led impact project, in collaboration with the Oyo State Primary Health Care Board, or Oyo PHCB, aims to strengthen grassroots healthcare delivery, reduce infant mortality, expand access to essential health services, and upgrade facilities through renovations, improved immunization coverage, enhanced malaria control, and comprehensive child survival interventions. And talking politics, a former deputy governor during the tenure of late Governor Abiola Ajimobi, Chief Moses Alake Adeyemo, has emerged as the chairman of All Progressives Congress APC in Oyo State. In a statement made available to newsmen by the party's publicity secretary, Olawale Shadari, the decision followed consultations among key leaders of the party across the 33 local government areas of the state. Adeyemo, who hails from Igbo in Orelokpe local government area, was unanimously adopted as a consensus candidate at the party state's Congress held at Liberty Stadium, Okeado, in Ibadan. Religious leaders and media stakeholders have been urged to reclaim and protect the true message of Islam and from criminal elements who manipulate the faith to justify violence and banditry. The call was made by Professor Sabit Olagoke while delivering a lecture at the first Ramadan lecture organized by the Dominion Broadcast Group, an event focused on addressing misconceptions linking Islam to extremism and criminality. Our correspondent Damlola Daudu has the details. And moving on in business, Nigeria's value-added tax revenue surged to 2.28 trillion naira in the third quarter of 2025, marking a 10.6% increase from 2.06 trillion naira in the previous quarter, according to the latest report from the National Bureau of Statistics. The figure was disclosed in the sectorial distribution of VAT Q3 2025 report published on the NBS website, which shows that on a year-on-year basis, VAT collections in third quarter of 2025 increased by 28.10% from Q3 2024. The breakdown shows local VAT payments dominating at 1.12 trillion naira, foreign VAT payments contributing 680.23 billion naira, and import VAT adding 479.79 billion naira on a quarter-on-quarter basis. MBS said administrative and support service activities recorded the highest growth rate at 89.28%, followed by arts, entertainment and recreation with 82.49%, and human health and social work activities with 32.40%. And in sports, FIFA has launched the final 100-day countdown to the 2026 FIFA World Cup, marking the approach of the tournament. In a post on its official X handle, FIFA said that June 11, 2026 marks the opening scene to the greatest show in the world, referencing the tournament's first match between Mexico and South Africa. However, the world governing football body did not provide any update on the anticipated disciplinary verdict involving Nigeria and the Democratic Republic of Congo. The delay has now drawn criticism in Nigeria, where football stakeholders and fans have expressed frustration over the lack of clarity as the World Cup approaches. And that's about it on Daybreak News. You can visit our website on www.dominion.org.ng to watch us live and interact with us. You can also follow us across our social media platforms on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and LinkedIn at Dominion Broadcast, and X at Dominion Cast. And as Daybreak News, I'm Anrolu Akpo Ido. Thank you for watching.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live like never before? Book the OB event today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
Another nomination for Taiwo Oyedele as Minister of Finance seems like a good one for him. Perhaps the president's trust in his ability is something to write home about. Of course, that's one of the stories we'll be taking and highlighting on this segment of Newspaper Headlines and Analysis. Thank you for staying tuned to Dominion Television. Daybreak Live is still the program. And of course, getting into the print this morning, so many stories to go around talking about the presidency, from the presidency to the issue of petrol or perhaps PMS in the country. So many things to talk about, right? But I'll start from the Nigerian Tribune newspaper this morning. And of interest is the APC governors consolidate as party big state excourse. That was also reflected in our news bulletins as well. A former deputy governor of Oyo State particularly has emerged as the choice of the APC people in Oyo State. And that seems like a development from that corner in talking in our Nigerian Tribune newspaper. The front page says that story quite interestingly. Ayedatiwa loyalist hail exercise. Ex-deputy governor emerges Oyo chairman. Also some other Akume Alia produced parallel excourse in Benue. Enugu Delta's governors pick former PDP chairman to lead APC. Edo grant to Shomole automatic ticket to Senate. That's also, that's one of the stories you find, but also on page 3, 27 and 30 of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper this morning. And of course, on the top corner, the left-hand side, Tinubu nominates Oyedele as Minister of State for Finance, moves Uzo Kanete to Ministry of Budget and National Planning. That's exactly the conversation right there on the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. It seems like one good turn, like they say, deserves another. And that's the story and the trajectory of Taiwo Oyedele, perhaps as said by this administration, led by Tinubu. That's one of the stories that are making the rounds across the country. Yes, Lassa fever hit 18 states. 28 health workers are infected. Lassa fever yet again. Not a very good one. Meanwhile, DSS arrests 5 security operatives over El Rufai's failed arrest at Abuja Airport. That is also another story that is of interest to many people. While we keep our fingers crossed on El Rufai's story, it seems to be unfolding on different chapters, we are viewing as we have it now. Ex-Kaduna governors, 1 billion naira rights suits against ICPC, others suffer setback. ADC demands end to selective justice, calls for transparency in El Rufai and Malami probe. That's exactly the story right there. Meanwhile, Middle East is also reflected on Nigerian Tribune newspaper. The Middle East crisis, talking NCPC puts pilgrimage to Jerusalem on hold. That was also one of the stories we highlighted, we tracked for you just a moment ago, where of course the board in charge of the pilgrimage from Nigeria to Israel said they're going to halt that process for now, owing to the issues that we are having, especially the Middle East crisis, talking the United States, Israel and Iran. That's also unfolding across the newspapers as we have it featured this morning. Moving on from Nigerian Tribune newspaper to the Guardian newspaper. The Guardian has stories of interest, particularly faulty design, vandalism, neglect and endanger $3.4 billion rail overhaul. That is that story on the Guardian newspaper. It's about the rail system, and that's something we've been talking about in the country, something of interest to everybody. If we have the rail system functional, then a lot of challenges, talk about the transport challenges, will be solved in the country, and that's also one of the things we are seeing. Yes, of course. Taking up some other stories, Middle East war lifts crude, pushes petrol near 1,000 naira as Nigeria counts gains and risk as well. That's also one of the stories making the rounds on the Guardian newspaper this morning. Federal government rolls out 1% presumptive tax on informal sector, bans roadblocks. That's exactly the story. Again, a story to look out for as we get into the analysis segment. Of course, we have to get into the analysis segment of this particular edition of Newspaper Headlines, but that will be shortly after this break. Stay with us.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast and on X at Dominioncast. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
Thank you for staying tuned. And now switching now to the analysis segment, taking it to the quarters of people who are in the know as to the situation in the country, Nigeria. Joining us this morning is Afolabi. Thank you for joining us. Good morning to you.
Good morning, my brother. Good to be here again.
Yes, of interest. I think you've been in the game for a while now, right? And it's something, and I think it will be a good start to start with, the nomination of Taiwo Dele as the Minister of State for Finance, and that seems to be like what this administration is excited about, to say the tax reform policy you brought, you need to execute
and implement it.
Complete the process, right? It seems like the good way. But what do you make of this?
Well, it's a good start. It tells us that we have the right pen in the right place, and that Odele is somebody who understands his onions, who could implement what he has proposed. He propounded the theory for this tax reform, and I see the tax reform, if properly implemented, will give birth to something new in Nigeria, something that we'll all be proud of, something that we believe that if in the next 10 years, 20 years, there's those who are very good at escaping the taxes, especially those the allies who will not have a place to hide. And I also felt that it will be one of the legacy that this administration will be leaving behind. And for anybody that will be coming in, it's very difficult to turn it around, because the truth is that they pay high taxes wherever they go outside this country, but they come to Nigeria and see it as a free lunch for them, and that is why many of them behave so well as they are behaving.
But sorry, speak to the issue of the concerns of many Nigerians to say it's okay to have tax. We understand that tax is something
good.
that would help a society. But what about accountability?
That is one thing that I also want to mention before you come in. I want to say that it's good to pay tax, but the implementation and the accountability is the area that Nigerians are not satisfying with. It's not bad for me paying for power supply that is as high as 25,000 naira per month. But what happens if the bills comes in and it's 25,000 naira and I cannot account for 5,000 naira of the power supply to me that I've used? It's of no use. It's nonsense. But if I can be assured of a stable power supply for a month and it can be like 15k, 15,000 naira, and I can also make use of it to produce and generate more than what I have paid, then it's okay. But if you are to now start paying for fuel, generator, diesel, and the like, you know how much you will pay for all that. And it's not helping the production section. It's not also helping the small, medium scale enterprise. It's killing the enterprises industry to the point that many of them felt, God, this place is not the best place for me to go to do business. And that is why they seek opportunity, japa abroad anyhow, anytime. Not that we don't have talent, guys, but because of the way things are being managed and accountability. And that is where, if we can get this tax running properly and the money is diverted into something we all can feel.
Okay, sorry, I was going to get to that. We've already started the conversation, so I'll just ask you very briefly. And this is why. We've talked about the money that is coming from, that's going to come from tax. Where is it going? A lot of people have said, well, maybe to continue some projects. But a lot of people are also saying that, can we have it somewhere? So if you are to do, okay, let's just do a bit of solutions journalism now. If we are to advise the government on the policy, what would you say that particular money should be targeted or should be funneled into?
See, if that money is properly done, if that tax is properly, generated, and it's going to be accountability, and accountability is put in place. See, we have a lot of problem here in Nigeria to face, to solve. In the area of mortgage, you ask me, where are the mortgage companies? Where are the mortgage banks? Can you go to any banks and say you want to buy a land and they want that they should foot it for you and you will pay this money in the next 20, 30 years? People complain of Ibadan not having a lot of houses, and so therefore people are just skyrocketing and adding more to their rent every day. I ask, where are the low-cost houses built by the government? Where are the ones built by the local government? Where are the ones built by the state? Which one do we have here that is built by the federal government? If these are in place, where people can go and get a room self-contained and get a loan for 5 million naira and spread in the next 15 years, and they are able to pay, then there is no problem. We have high-rising buildings that can contain like maybe 30, 20, 60, a room and a parlor, a two-bedroom and parlor, and people can buy, like we have them in Jakonde, in Gowon Estate, and we can have them here in Ibadan. You don't need, there will be a lot of competitions. So now an agent will not be telling you pay 1.5 million, pay 3,000, pay million, and that will not be a problem here again. If we have such kind of taxes diverted into such, fine. We also want them to be diverted into our educational system. We want them to be diverted into our road sector. Our road is so bad that if you have a farm somewhere very close and you are bringing your production, it is definitely not going to be sure that everything you are bringing in from the farm will get to the market because the road is bad. You see, we also need this thing to be diverted into water supply. We have Ministry of Water and there is no water. And I ask the question, who are the people in this ministry? Where we are the ones that will go and dig our boreholes and get ourselves the tank, the overhead tank and everything, and somebody is at the ministry and just earning money. They use that ministry to settle some people in the political airline, in the political frame, which is not fair. These are the things that we want this thing to be diverted into our medical system. See, there is nothing bad if we have small clinic very close to houses, like 3 streets, 4 streets, like that, where people will not be need to rush from Ido Omiadio to UCH for a kind of a medical assistant that they can get if such is just placed behind them. Why will somebody be coming from secretary to UCH because the person needs medical attention? Why? Because our government is not taking care of what they should take care of. These are areas we want that tax to be focused on. Wow. We want the tax to be focused on our telecom industry, so that we will not be paying too much for data. I wonder why, if not for when this telecom was introduced, We used to buy data recharge card for 25,000 naira. I remember very vividly that my number was that of the number that MTN started with 0803. I tell you, if that will be diverted, people will have opportunity to connect. There will be more room for programs. People can do courses online. People can communicate with their families. Now we are used to making calls online. If this thing is diverted into all these areas, life will be meaningful for people. Nigerians will not be having the gods of leaving the country to anyhow countries. I call it anyhow because there are countries that will advertise, come and japa here, and you wonder how these people managing. And that is the problem. Our food is just there, scarcity of food. We don't have any. Our hostels, our industries, our education is there. Our university is crying.
Wow, Mr. Philip, you've made very valid points. But let's not stretch it out too, because I'm not sure it's going to be in the tune of trillions and billions of dollars, whatever they get from people. Well, for a start, anyway. But I think one of the points you've made that I think is so powerful is that of the housing structure and housing systems, right? We know of intensive housing systems in developed times of the world where it's just a skyscraper and then there are different apartment units for people to get. And it makes a lot of sense, especially now that Nigerians are crying against the tenancy fee, all of those agreements.
These are the problems. That is the problem.
I think that will go a long way.
Everywhere is bungalow.
So everybody's complaining now that there are agents are really extorting people.
Nothing. Government can do anything to solve it. I have said it several times. I will continue to say it again. Let the state governor come and tell us where his low-cost houses are. Let the local government come and point to us where their low-cost houses are. They are building car parks. They are building car parks, and you see some shops or local shops that they are also putting at some areas. Nobody is using them.
Okay, let's drive it now into politics. Now, this APC is in the news, and for now, there's a new developments in Oyo State. This new state chairman is going to be deputy governor. Moses, of course, is going to now come into place. But in some climes, like in some places and regions in the country, there were reports that some former PDP, state chairman have become, the APC chairman in some states. And this is another kind of story.
Well, it's not the kind of story because that is what the present party wants to have in place. Because you understand that of recent, the Adamawa entire cabinet just dissolved into APC. And they were former APC, PDP stalwarts in their local government, in their wards, in their area. So if APC will be putting up their state executives, they will not be leaving those guys behind. They will also be including them.
But the issue is, do you not have a structure to have, instead of integrating people or taking people from another party and making them the state chairman, do you not have a structure that can get you someone who can do it and those people will just be subordinate?
That is permutation. That is what they call their own kind of arithmetics. We are 2 plus 2 is not 4, but 22. And that is what is going to happen. They needed to make those people feel at home. They needed to make them be part of the system. They need to let them see that we are one. They need to either cajole them or give them a true picture that now that you are part of us, we all can run this government. That is just it. So if a party chairman of a particular party is now dissolving into a new party or the existing party, he might even still retain his seat as the chairman of that particular ward or local government that he was once their chairman. That is like a PDP man coming from a particular local government, dissolving to APC, can still remain or maintain his status quo as the chairman of that party, but not of PDP, but now of APC.
Sorry, but is this not an affront to party politics in Nigeria? Because the ideological frame behind this does not really speak well.
Do you see us having an ideology in our party? No. Today, APC is reigning. Let it come tomorrow, where another party will be reigning. All of them will decamp, and the same thing will happen. We don't have an ideology in our own political party system. What we have is no permanent friend, no permanent enemy. Today you are this, tomorrow you can this, and there is no court at all that have sanctioned anybody that have crossed carpet or migrate or dissolve or whatever English you want to call it into another new party, leaving behind all those trusts, all those faithful men, all those praises or whatever that he has been enjoying before. No. What we know here is, today is a party is leading. When PDP was leading, everybody was PDP. When the ACN started his own from the regional side, everybody dissolved into the ACN because they felt that yes, we can make a particular regional party. And when it changed to APC, that is just, we don't have ideology. And that is why it is difficult for us to make some concrete policies that will stand a test of time.
All right. All right. So many things to talk about. I wanted to take us to Middle East to talk briefly on that. So NCDC recently put pilgrimage to Jerusalem on hold right now. Just yesterday as well, the presidency came out to say there's no threat from the quarters to say any Nigerian is not reporting that their life is in danger or something. So everything is. But they are footballers. There are people who work in Iran as well. We know that for a shorty. But it seems like the government is a bit calm over this issue. For you might understand that there are diplomatic tensions as well, especially with the fact that United States and Nigeria have become allies in sense of having troops come into the country, supplying us with military equipment, and that's been a trajectory that has been developed in recent times and is making sense for a lot of Nigerians or this administration, you might say. But now the issue is that there were protests, I think the day before yesterday in Lagos, that some members, I don't know if they were members of the Muslim Society or just some
in Kano,
as well, yes, in Lagos as well. They were protesting against the death of Khamenei. They say the way it was brutalized was not good and all of that. And there's been a lot of claims, people saying Nigeria needs to be very diplomatic at this time, needs to be calm. And so what's your take on this?
Well, I want to warn Nigerians to be very calm and also be very cautious of our statements, of our utterances, of our behavior, of the way we want to dabble into this Middle East crisis. It is not Islam, it is not religious crisis. It is a crisis of power. It is a crisis of politics. It is a crisis of power. Afghan and Pakistan are of the same religion and fighting each other. It's a crisis of power. Of if the president or the government want to claim that nothing is being affected, of recent they announced a ban in the traveling to Israel, and that tells us that that place is not safe for anybody to go. I only pray that when it is the time for Mecca, pilgrimage, it will have been calm, and people will not, because if the place is still as it is right now, nobody will also go to Mecca. And that is just the truth. So let us be frank ourselves. And we also believe that, and we know that we have an ally now with the United States of America who is supporting us with military support and in terms of bringing down the terrorists in our country. And that alone tells us that whatever we want to say, whatever we want to do should be guided by what we know. We don't need to dabble into it. It's a diplomatic problem going on between the 3 or the 4 of them, and I want to say that it's affecting the business, the crude oil
in particular. I was going to ask you that.
The crude oil has been affected, and very soon people will be buying above 1,000 naira, and that tells you that when a particular country is on rest, other countries will be affected.
Especially because Iran is also a producer
So that is it.
But what do you say to the claims of some people that Donald Trump is targeting countries with oil? Venezuela.
No.
Now Iran.
No.
Maybe someday Nigeria.
No.
You don't think that?
I don't think that is it. I don't think that it goes beyond that. If you read deeply and you understand what is going on, it's not about that. It's about what has been on ground before now. It's about what they think it should not be. Before now, if you see Iran history in the 1970s, they have their tradition. They have the way and manner at which they govern themselves. Not until the introduction of this Islamic ideology and a revolution and everything take a change. Those who have been in that particular power's seat then would not want to go back and just, we heard that they've been on exile. And it has not been fair on the family that has been leading the country as at that time. But right now, we also understand that the Islamization and the revolution of Islam in some countries has not been favorable. And that is why some countries felt that, let this thing go back to the status quo. Let's have anybody that is not coming for peace be eliminated. I think it is not, it has nothing to do with religion. It's a pure politics, it's a pure power play, and they are playing it.
On a more fair, but just not so serious now. There's the issue of NAFDAC coming out to say that alcohol is responsible for banditry and kidnapping in the country. That's NAFDAC defending the ban on sachet, the sachet alcohol that is being. They want to, but NAFDAC is saying we want to ban these things. Wow. In fact, we've seen protests in the country. Some people have said, no, you cannot ban it. That's our I don't know what they call it.
That's our consoler.
You know, so maybe
we use it to
perhaps,
console ourselves.
Perhaps you are one of the consumers of that.
Well, I cannot deny that. Yes.
But let's see. What do you think this will be? Because some have said they've alluded that, of course, it will take away jobs from people.
Yes.
Right? And some are saying to take their joy.
Yeah.
You know, some people say that's where I get my
when
joy.
you go to the social media, we understand what
But the health implication of that is also important. So let's have this. With all of this
First,
consideration.
I want to knock out NAFDAC for saying that it's the reason for banditry, kidnapping. No. We know why banditry is ongoing. It's growing faster and fast in our country. Because some people are behind it. It's not just growing because some people are taking it. If that is the case, then everybody on the street will be a banditry guy. Everybody on the street will be kidnappers. You know, we have, even those who do cake, who bake cake for weddings, use this alcohol to mix with their cake, you know, and
materials.
yeah.
I think it's for preserving.
Either of the way, if you take cake, you have taken one of it. That is just the truth. If anybody has served you cake in party,
not every kind of cake. Anyway.
No, my brother is a lie. If anybody has served you cake in the party,
I have bakers who don't use it.
Who baker? Bring the baker.
But the consumption level is also a conversation, right? So even if it's just a little, you won't do so much.
Whichever way you have taken it, you have taken it.
So you're justifying alcohol?
No, I'm not justifying it. I'm only asking that we take it responsibly. I'm only saying that we need to take it with a sense of caution, so that it will not be abused. The abuse of it is what I don't understand. I don't buy into. The abuse of all this alcohol is what has turned our society into something else.
But is it not addictive? Because if you blame abuse now, then you have to first blame the fact that people are taking it here. Because anybody that's an addict started one day and then evolved into something else.
But before the invention of this Sachi alcoholic something, we used to have them in bottles.
But it was not readily available and it was a bit expensive. A young boy can buy it. Because it's less expensive now.
Because it was less expensive, that was why you want to ban it. That people should go for the bottle, for the big bottle.
I don't want to mention the number of people that would use it now for consumption. Yeah, that might be the claims of NAFDAC.
Well, I want to believe that we are getting somewhere. NAFDAC has their own reason, but I want to knock them out from saying that it has been the reason behind banditry. No, it is not.
All right, but some other stories still making the rounds as well. We quite mentioned the fact that petrol prices is projected to be at 1,000 naira soon enough if this continues. But that's why a lot of people are calling for calm in those regions, particularly Iran, Israel, and every other place in the world. Yes. Now, just take, there's something about presumptive tax that is also in the news. Federal government rolls out 1% presumptive tax on informal sector and bans roadblocks. That's also a conversation right there. But this, I think we've mentioned something about it in the course of this.
That roadblocks, this is not the first time federal government is banning roadblocks. And what has been the effect? Have we been able to, do we have that kind of satisfactory work of our security men to ban the roadblocks? Because if roadblocks, at least citing a roadblocks ahead of you, give you a caution. If you are a criminal, it tells you that you may not be safe passing through such roadblocks. If you are a car a driver who is good at speeding up, you will be cautioned of your speed limit. You will come down to your senses, at least at that time when you want to pass through such roadblocks. Either they park you by the side, they ask you for documents, they check your car, or they ask for other things that you don't need to be asked for. But the fact that the roadblocks is there, give a sense of caution, alert the driver, the passenger, and even criminals that wants to pass through. There's something ahead of them. We will surely stop them. So why banning the roadblocks?
All right, so let's advance this conversation a bit, especially talking politics now. ADC is warning federal government against selective justice, and they are backing El-Rufai and Malami. The issue of El-Rufai, wiretapping issue is still a conversation many people are having. There are different sides to it, right? From the confidence of his supporters and his family, they're saying there was an alleged breaking into his house, and then some are saying it's okay for that to happen if there's an evidence against national security or that would support the case or against for the national security issue that they are debating. So that's exactly one of the cases. But ADC is warning federal government that some people have said this is politicizing stuff. This is not really what he said was not exactly what he's doing. He said he knows somebody that is not him particularly. Then the DSS went to his house, and then the ICPC, and they said they got, according to the information, they allegedly found, materials to wiretapping in his house, in his residence. But his family is saying, we're not sure that's exactly, you found this in his house and a lot of things. But there's been that speculations about him also, because the question is, why is he interested or involved or know someone who is tapping into the National Security Advisor's communication system? Because what do you need that information for? It's not for entertainment. You don't use that to make you happy. So there has to be a question under this question.
My brother, why are you saying this now? This is you. This is how much you can understand this their politics. These people are bent at getting everything that will bring down any opposition that is not on their side. See, okay, while El-Rufai was in government, you understand that you have been behind many people getting opportunity into some of these sectors. I mean, getting employment. Remember when he was stopped at the airport, and the EFCC guys, he said clearly that over 45 of them could not come closer to him. Who told you that he's not the one that have helped these guys to gain a job into these EFCCs? Who told you that? Is it you don't look at them at just like you are looking at yourself? What will I need such things for? Is it for entertainment? No. They need the vital information. They need okay, let me divert a little bit. Go to Middle East. See the way the Iran cases started from. US is supposed to tell us that they have been on their telecom monitoring information.
That's about political powers in government, like country to country. This is just a state governor, a former state governor saying he knows someone who taps. That's cause for national insecurity or
that tells how much our communication system is being polluted. I asked myself many times if there was a time a top member do a video and lambast the government, and she was arrested immediately. But till date, we still have bandits, terrorists doing videos in their bushes, telling us how many people they've captured, how they have been killed, and the likes. And nobody have arrested anybody till date. We've not been able to trace them. We've not been able to capture them. And you are telling us that we both of us are using the same telecom. It's not possible. So if such is happening under our own nose and is going free by it, and you are telling me that this person talking does not know what he's saying, he knows what he's saying.
So let me pick your brains on this. Let me understand what or where you stand. He said what he said. The federal government is on his chase.
Yes.
Some are saying they should leave him because it's political.
No.
Others are saying it's actually something that should be proven, that should be checked in the court of law.
Yes.
So I want to know what's your take. What do you think should be the end of this issue?
No, they should go beyond just talking to him. They should take him beyond.
He's not responding, by the way. ICPC came out to say he's not yielding.
He will not yield. When he gets to where he will yield. This is not just ordinary. You want to just talk to El-Rufai that you know. Very dogged, arrogant, very strict. He has his policy. If he says he's not talking, he's not going to talk. He can keep mute for the next 3 months. But you don't understand what he's saying. Don't you see the way banditry roll on the streets? The number that are being killed every day, and they're not reducing. How do we get to this point where we still have some people going to that bush to sit with them and tell us that they know their part and nobody has been arrested? And they give us videos of families, like the recent one, the father and the son, beating like this is absolutely nonsense that we should not be allowed in a same country. So if there is a particular trace to El-Rufai telling us that he knows something into the wiretapping, it should be brought beyond that. We should take away politics away from this. Maybe this will lead us to what has happened to our communication industry. What has happened to a particular sector of our communication that some people are enjoying, others are not enjoying. Maybe this will take us to a place where some people could do a live video and would not be traced, and some could just take a call and they will be traced instantly. And that is where we should come. Remember Malami, Pantami, and the likes. We are managers of this former country. that was just now that we are trying to rebuild again. It's not. I'm not subscribing to this as a political play, even though it has a little political undertone. But I want us to delve into it in investigating thoroughly the way and manner things has really gone wrong. This has gone on to a point that you, an ordinary man, can be traced within seconds from wherever you are making calls. But those destroying this country from wherever they are hiding will never be traced. And we want to sit back and enjoy the smooth atmosphere that we think we are enjoying. This is a beautiful nonsense. And if we are not careful, we will find ourselves locked up. Nobody will be able to go out.
All right. There seems to be, taking our tentacles away from there seems to be calm after the storm in Rivers State. Shortly now, Rivers Assembly began screening of 9 Fubara commissioner dumped yesterday. I know we've talked about this. I know, but I know we are also not beating a dead horse on this issue. But I know before now, just I think a couple of days back, the assembly requested for the commissioner's name, that they invited them to have a conversation and all of that, and that was the case. Unfortunately, a lot of persons were expecting them not to show up or something to happen again. But it seems like there's a calm now. There's calm in a troubled Rivers.
Yes, because they have been called to order. Let me use that word. They've been called to order to see that now that you are in our party, you go by our rules.
So let me ask you. So even if you commit the gravest of crimes in Nigeria, once you defect to a party, you are safe. But is that allegory telling something that we should? So
said by Oshiomhole. So said by Adam Oshiomhole.
And anybody who comes to our party,
he has said it.
Regardless the crime you commit.
Even if you've been interrogated, investigated later, as soon as you are coming in now, we are going to do it such a way that your crime will be suspended. Not actually not be interrogated, but you'll be suspended. You see, this is where Nigeria is having a problem. This is where we are sitting on a keg of gunpowder. This is where many of us are asking what will happen to the next generation. This is where some of us ask the government textbooks that we read that makes us scholars, that make us more intelligent, more exposed to politics and governance. What will the next generation be reading? What will be their take? What are the things they will refer to? Remember, it is reference. You refer, even in justice, they take a case study of what has happened in the past to make judgment for the present one. You refer. I don't know what the next generation will be referring to. Referring to the Cross River that was once a PDP leading government, and their commissioner or their former governor defected into a party and becomes a stalwart in that party and still want to be a chairman and the leader of his own party down there. We refer to a particular time when all former party member of a particular group defected and come together and call another name and give themselves another party name. You see, these are the things that we act, that we be careful of how we treat today, so that tomorrow will not ask us and will not be able to answer.
All right. There's the issue of Chimamanda Adichie's son. Remember, she lost a child. And of course, something happened, and then it became a thing. And there were questions about medical councils suspending 3 doctors over death of Chimamanda Adichie's son. So that's like the latest we have in the news now. The medical council suspending 3 doctors over death. I think we've seen the dilapidated structure and the system in the medical sector of the country, and it seems to be appalling. It seems to be something it's unbecoming of the country.
Well, this is where I am praying that our tax reform will take care of. I have a family whose medical state was so much that she was taken to the hospital. Everybody felt that she's fine, and not until we heard later that the scissors was in her stomach, and there was forgotten in her stomach, and that led to her death. Who will you take responsible? And at the time she was taken to such hospital, there was no light. I think they were depending on power generation supply, generator as a means of power supply. And I think in the course of the operation, they forgot the scissors, and the scissors became a pain in her stomach. And by the time they took her back, this is a nursing mother. Before they remove it, she gave the go. So this is part of what has happened, and part of why we are saying that the government needs a total reform. God.
All right, Mr. Folabi, thank you for your thought. I know That's already almost getting emotional. But of course,
for
want of time, we have to move on to the next segment of this show. Thank you for coming through this morning. And of course, now to the big story with Oluwayemi Adelakun. After this break, join us again.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast and on X at Dominioncast. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
Power shared fairly is power that holds a nation together. Good morning once again and welcome to the big story. The debate over Nigeria's presidency in 2027 has resurfaced following a comment by Maruf Ntiri, who insists the presidency should remain in the south to complete an 8-year cycle in line with Nigeria's long-standing power-sharing understanding. While zoning is not provided for in the constitution, Governor Ntiri argues that it remains critical to national unity. His position ignites an old national dilemma. Should regional equity take precedence over unrestricted democratic competition? Historically, zoning has shaped Nigeria's political direction from the South's 8 years between 1999 and 2007 to not return to power, and now to the current Southern presidency under Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who is serving his first time. Beyond zoning, the story also touches on shifting political alliances, including Ntiri's defection to the ruling party and the renewed presidential ambition of Atiku Abubakar ahead of 2027. This morning, we examined the issue under the theme, "It is the South's turn, regional equity versus democratic right." Joining me is Ignatius Ebosaleme Afino, researcher, public affairs analyst, and of course, an author. Oluwayemi Adelakun. Please stay with us this morning. Good morning, Afino.
Good morning, Yemi.
Right, trust you're doing great this morning.
Wow, I'm excited about it.
All right, so what we are looking at this morning, is the discussion around the South should rule for 8 years, and of course, let's maintain the balance. The North should wait after this 8 years of the South. So the governor of Adamawa State, Ntiri, said something recently. He said the North should not even It's not saying they should not contest, but he's saying the South deserves to rule for 8 years. Speaking about President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who is currently, the president of this country as we speak now. So he's saying President Bola Ahmed Tinubu should contest and win, and of course the North. Let's not even forget that Ahmadu Fintiri and of course Atiku Abubakar are from the same state. So he's not even concerned about ethnicity or region. He's concerned about political ideology. So I want to ask you now. Let's take a little bit into history. How did we arrive at these 8 years for each region?
Thank you very much. When you look at the number of years that the North spent ruling Nigeria, if you add up everything together, it's over 43 years. Nigeria got independence 1st of October 1960.
Okay.
So the so-called power that be in PDP decided that the time has come for power to be zoned between the Northern Protectorate and the Southern Protectorate as a way of compensating the June 12 struggle.
Okay.
The mandate that was stolen in 1993. The North now felt that they should zone power to the South. Not just to the South, to the Southwest. Not just to the Southwest. We should give it to an Egba man in person of Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, GCFR. Mind you, the mandate that was stolen was a mandate from who? An Egba man too. Chief Moshood Kashimawo Abiola. So it was there. So that was what led to the issue of zoning between the North and the South. It's not constitutional. It's just a convention, an arrangement in PDP, People's Democratic Party, that the South should rule for 8 years. After 8 years, there should be a power shift to the North. The North should also rule for 8 years. But it was just sad and unfortunate that when power was now shifted from the South to the North, and Yar'Adua was elected, Yar'Adua only ruled for 2 years. And after he died untimely. So the arithmetic now changed. So Jonathan, who happened to be the vice, Jonathan was given the vice president who was a way of compensation. Do you know why? Okay. Because of the Niger Delta agitation, resource control. So Chief Olusegun Obasanjo now felt that the only way to be able to appeal to these people, let us nominate one of their own to be the vice president, to down the tension. So when Jonathan now became the acting president, after the demise of Yar'Adua, so he was there for 2 years to complete the first term of Yar'Adua. So at the end of the day, what happened again? They not felt that the power should go back to them. At the end of the day, they felt that there was the agitation again, resource control. Then again, Jonathan was allowed to rule for 4 years. So 4 plus 2 making what? 6.
Well, we didn't win the next election.
So Jonathan was ruling for how many years? For 6 years now. Okay. So they not now felt that on moral ground and political ground, power was supposed to be shifted to the North in 2015. So Jonathan was supposed to shift ground. That let us now allow power to go back to the North. You know what Jonathan said? He said he has that constitutional right to seek for re-election for a second term in office. That shows that he's going to be sworn in for the 3rd time.
Okay, are you saying he should not have contested?
He should not have contested.
Why?
No, he should not have contested.
Constitutionally, he has every right to contest.
No, he is already ruling Nigeria for 6 years. He has been sworn in twice.
Don't you think that is what is causing problem now? Because Jonathan lost that election for 2nd term. And according to so many persons in the Southeast, especially, they felt like Jonathan was supposed to rule for complete 8 years. That 2 years is separate. It's as a result of, the need to fill
Let me
the
give
vacant
an instance.
office.
If Ofino is given the opportunity to rule Nigeria for 24 hours, and I leave, history has been made that I was once the executive president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So we are talking about 6 years. He was supposed to have allowed power to shift back to the North. That was the issue that happened between him and Chief Olusegun Obasanjo. That the North are agitating that there must be what called power shift back to the North. But because of Jonathan's greed, and assuming, if not for the death of Yar'Adua, the tendency is there for Nigeria to be running a one-party state till now, under PDP, in that zoning arrangement. So his power greed, he lost it. There is one thing you must know, the North has what we call numerical advantage. So it was there, it was Jonathan that caused the problem for PDP till date. He caused it. You know, Chief Chief Obafemi Awolowo requested for presidency for 24 hours. That if he can be able to be given the opportunity to rule Nigeria for 24 hours, he is going to transform Nigeria. Chief Obafemi Awolowo said it.
But Ofino, don't you
Now
think...
somebody ruling 6 years.
Okay. Don't you think this zoning system has done more harm than good? Because, I mean, according to history, you know, it was zoned to the south for the reason that was the reason to placate the south at the time. But then, at the end of the day, don't you think this old zoning system, 8 years for each region, has done more harm than good? Speaking about the unity of Nigeria as a country.
No, it's not doing more harm than good. There's one thing we must understand. When you are talking about unity in diversity, Nigeria is made up of over 350 ethnic groups. Every ethnic group is agitating that they want to be president.
We have other countries who have more.
So, but the issue there is that in PDP, they felt that there should be zoning. Even the same rule have been applied in APC too. You know, Muhammadu Buhari ruled for 8 years.
Yes.
So they now said that the power must be shifted back to where? To the south. So luckily for Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he was elected president. So the zoning has been there just to ensure that there is what we call political stability between the northern protectorate and the southern protectorate. But we are having 6 geopolitical zones in Nigeria. We have the north central geopolitical zone. We have the northwest geopolitical zone. We have the northeast geopolitical zone. We have the southwest geopolitical zone. We have the south-south geopolitical zone. And we have what we call the southeast geopolitical zone. So when you are talking about equity, it should be based on what? The geopolitical zones of the country. The northeast geopolitical zone has never for once produced the president.
Is it not possible?
They have produced the vice president in person of Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, GCON. For the southeast has not produced the president. No, we are talking about geopolitical zones now. So when you are talking about democratic right, the people have the right constitutionally to elect who should govern them. That is what democracy is all about, irrespective of the zone.
That was my
or
next
the ethnic
question.
group.
Because really, is this zoning system not trying to affect, you know, the electoral system? Because some Nigerians feel like, you know, as a matter of fact, because these people are talking about the fact that let the South rule for 8 years, and I want to vote for another person, but because of the ideology and of course the mentality of some politicians, it might affect, you know, their vote.
Nigeria has its own peculiarity. Nigeria is a complex society. Very difficult to govern. Very difficult. Nigeria is a complex country. We have our own peculiarity. So political leaders now felt that there should be zoning between the north and the south. If you remember, when this man, Senator Ifeanyi Okowa, the former executive governor of Delta State, they had a meeting. The southern governors had a meeting. And they came out with a resolution. The resolution was this, that the next president must come from the south, irrespective of the political party. But at the end of the day, he betrayed himself too, because he went to accept the nomination given to him, the vice presidential slot that was given to him by Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. So they now saw Senator Ifeanyi Okowa as a serial betrayer in the south. The meeting was held that the power must be shifted back to the south in 2023. You were the one that hosted the governor in the south. At the end of the day, you betrayed that resolution. Because if you didn't betray that resolution, why should you now adopt the nomination for a vice presidential slot that was given to you by Alhaji Atiku Abubakar?
Okay, you on auto, Ofino, I want to ask you, is it compulsory for a president to serve for 8 years? Can a president not serve for 4 years, one single term, and do exceptionally well?
It's based on your choice. The president can decide to rule for a single term. But the constitution says he has the constitutional right to rule for 2 years if elected. But there's something on ground now. The Indigos in the south are complaining that they are being marginalized. The Southwest has ruled Nigeria for 8 years, from 1999 to 2007. From 2015 to 2023, they also became the vice president. Then now, the Southwest is ruling presently. For the issue of the South-South, they have ruled Nigeria for 6 years. From 2009 to 2015. That is 6 years. Now, to me, on moral ground is the turn of the Indigbo That is why I keep saying that if you say you don't want the Indigo to rule Nigeria, you don't have any moral right and justification to continue to rule over them. Although I am not calling for secession.
Okay, it's a fun place to leave that particular one. Let's also talk about the fact that, because Jonathan was kicked out of power in 2015.
He wasn't kicked out of power, he lost the election.
Some will tell you he was kicked out of power. Not kicked out in that sense, but obviously he lost the election, so he had to leave the office.
Because he was not being sincere politically.
Okay.
If the people of Niger Delta were asked to present a candidate as vice president, they will never present Jonathan.
Why?
They will never.
Why?
He's not popular.
Really?
I'm telling you, where we have Peter Odili, the rest of them, Jonathan was very fortunate. So PDP is having problem today. Jonathan should be blamed more because of his greed.
Is it about popularity?
No, I don't like people that are greedy for power. You know it's arithmetic. We came from the minority. The minority cannot rule over the majority.
But he accepted the veto,
No, when we are talking, no, he had no choice.
Really?
He had no choice.
To take the matter to court.
No, he had no choice. He lost it and he lost it. It was a show of shame.
Do you know that?
No, it was a show of shame.
Ofino.
Those who told him that it is very difficult for a sitting president to lose election, they were only deceiving him. Jonathan spent a lot of money in that campaign. Trillions of naira. We are wasted and he lost that election.
Do you know, Ofino, that some Nigerians believe he won that election, but he said something that a lot of persons, consider profound. He said, "My political ambition is not worth the blood of any Nigerian."
Now, Jonathan did not win that election. He lost that election.
Okay.
Every factors were against him. They were all against him. Even internationally, they were also against him. The international community. There is a way, there is one thing I've learned in life. When it comes to issue of politics, it's a game of number and a game of power. We have some people today that are very powerful than your president, as if Ajibola Ahmed Tinubu. But you can't know them.
Is he also a game of
popularity? And the president will be loyal to them.
Is he also a game of popularity?
Do you think as if Ajibola Ahmed Tinubu just wake up and said, Emilio come? It's deep.
Really? How deep?
It's deep.
How deep?
It's difficult for me to bear the card.
Okay. Okay, let's talk about 2027. If you don't want to tell me how deep this is. Because, if it was possible to win that election, the APC, that coalition that came together, the ACN, the CPC that came together, to win that election in 2015. Do you think it's possible for the coalition that we have now, I'm speaking about the ADC now, to actually do the same thing that APC did in 2015 that changed the game?
It's a two-way answer. Two-way answer. Because for now, ADC does not have a strong political structure on ground. They only have what we call political gladiators.
What about Atiku?
It's a political gladiators. Atiku used to have a strong political brains before. People's Democratic Movement, PDM. Where is the PDM now? It has fizzled out naturally. So, and it likes like that.
What about Obi?
Now, let me give you an instance now. When we are talking about Obedient now, Obedient is no longer as strong as before. We have some of them that are even supporting the city boy now. On the social media platform.
But there's also the village boy movement.
It's there. So the movement are actually coming out and coming up. But there is something you must understand. That politics is full of intrigues, gimmicks, permutation, alignment,
and it's deep.
Realignment and the conspiracy theory.
Okay.
So for now, there is a problem on ground. Do you know what the problem that is on ground now? The new Electoral Act.
Okay.
It's a problem to the ADC because ADC does not have a validated register. APC has a validated register, membership register, and now we have two options now. It's either through consensus or through direct voting system. If you want to nominate your candidate, there is no longer indirect voting system again.
You don't think
when you appoint delegates? That is why Atiku they are raising an eyebrow, raising objection.
You don't think it's better?
No, it's not better to me.
Each party member can actually.
There are three ways you can be able to nominate your candidate. Let the status quo remain. It was a conspiracy on the part of APC against ADC. It's a conspiracy. That is why there is something in this country that I've discovered. The electoral umpire is biased. Do you know why I say is biased? They are being nominated by the executive arm of government. You know when Montesquieu postulated an assertion, you know what he said? He said there should be the separation of power. 3 tiers of, we should have what we call three arms of government: the executive arm of government, the legislative arm of government, and the judicial arm of government. That there should be what we call checks and balances, so that no arm of government will be so autocratic. To me, all things being equal, the third arm of government is supposed to nominate the electoral umpire. Let us be fair. But the third arm of government has also lost it out because they are corrupt.
Which one are you speaking of?
The third arm of government, the judiciary.
Okay.
The judiciary arm of government in Nigeria are supposed to appoint INEC chairman. To be frank, to be candid, they are not politicians. Are they politicians?
Some will not tell you. They will not come out to tell you they are politicians.
They are not politicians. They are professionals. They are law. They read law.
Okay.
They are professionals. They are technocrats. So we believe that they are not biased. But when you are talking about politicians, you are talking about the executive arm of government. You are talking about the legislative arm of government. Now we are talking about election. Then the executive arm of government has that authority to appoint the electoral umpire. Then the legislative arm of government also has that constitutional power to endorse it.
Okay, Ofido, because of time, let's quickly talk about this. You know, Aloy Ejimakor, the legal consultant to Nnamdi Kanu, said something recently. He said because of the continued detention of Nnamdi Kanu, it's going to affect the next election, presidential election, especially in the Southeast. Do you agree with him?
I disagree with him.
Why?
There is one thing we don't know about politics. INEC registered 91 million people, and at the end of the day, the total vote count was less than 25 million. It's still valid. There is one thing we must understand in this country. The politicians don't even want us to cast our vote, because they know that if we cast our vote, the right leader will emerge. So if politicians keep casting the vote themselves, the same cycle of old politicians will be elected. So that is why when I see some people today, they say they have voters apathy. It's a weak excuse. Do you know that the law says that if you are 18 years and above, you must exercise your franchise as a citizen? Most of us who refuse to cast our vote have already violated the Constitution. Don't you know you have violated the Constitution?
Not me.
Refusing to cast your vote. It's an offense. You refuse to cast your vote. That offense alone, you have violated the Constitution. You've
been voting consistently?
Yes. When I was 18 years and above, though I'm young, I've been voting. I have to exercise my franchise. Whether my candidate win or not is not an issue. Whether the election is being rigged or not is not an issue.
Okay, Ofido, because of time, let's speak to the voters now, because a lot of persons online, they are disturbed about this let one region rule for 8 years and another region should take over. What is your advice to the voters who feel they don't really want to vote for? I mean,
no, when we are talking about representative government, a representative government is a government in which that is based on free choice. You have the choice to cast your vote for whoever you feel that you want to govern you. But when we are talking about the person that is going to be declared the winner, the person that have more votes. Let me give you an instance. In Otuoke, where Jonathan came from, Muhammadu Buhari never scored 0 votes. In Daura, where Muhammadu Buhari came from, Jonathan never scored 0 votes in that election in 2015. Apparently. Ask me why. Yes, there was PDP agent in Daura, and that PDP agent must cast his vote for Jonathan. In Otuoke, there was APC agent. That APC agent must cast his vote for who? For Muhammadu Buhari. So none of them scored 0 votes. They never scored 0 votes. So when you are talking about election, it's about your interest.
And so you are saying the vote will determine who is going to become,
yes,
whether APC will retain,
yes, the
or maybe
cast.
someone else will come in.
The total vote cast.
Okay, I think it's a fine place to leave this discussion this morning. We'll revisit it, even God permits, after the elections, based on the things that you've said this morning. It's time to go. Democracy is strongest when fairness and freedom are carefully balanced. As we conclude, today's discussion reminds us that zoning remains an unwritten rule with powerful consequences in Nigeria's politics. Supporters see it as a stabilizing tool for inclusion and national balance. Critics view voice lacking constitutional backing from past transitions to present Southern presidency. Zoning has repeatedly influenced political outcomes, even when unspoken. As 2027 approaches, the key question remains: will zoning continue to unite the country, or will Nigerians demand a fair contest beyond regional lines? My thanks to Ignatius Abosalome Afino for his insights this morning. I'm Oluwayemi Adelakun, and this has been The Big Story. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast and on X at Dominion Cast. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
It's trend o'clock, and of course, what's trending is what's next now. What's next is what's trending, and what's trending is in Anambra State. Anambra government slashes February salaries of workers who observed Monday sit at home. Some get as low as 3,500 naira for 1 month. That's exactly the story, and that's what we have on Trend Watch today.
Exactly, and of course, some persons are complaining that, why should the governor do that? And I recall that when this whole thing started and Governor Chikuma Soludo wanted to put an end to this whole sit-at-home, some market women, they found that they said, we are not going to agree with it. But at the end of the day, I think the governor said, he made a contact with Nnamdi Kanu, and Nnamdi Kanu said he has nothing to do with the whole sit-at-home. So at the end of the day, I think what's best for the entire citizens, I'm speaking about the people of Anambra State, is what the governor should do. But reducing the salary, a lot of persons, might not be so cool with it.
Perhaps if there's much outcry, they will reverse it. But that's even one of the things we are checking out from Anambra State, particularly, especially now that we understand how much they have lost in the tunes of billions, especially over the period of time they've had sit at home on Mondays. That's exactly the case. But let's see what Nigerians are saying on the comment section today.
Okay, P. Adejari saying, if you're a government worker and Mondays are official work days, how do you skip work on the directive of a non-state actor and still expect full salary? Accountability can't be selective.
Wadili Bernard says, imagine someone who is also paying loans from his monthly salary, and Anambra State even pays the poorest salary. Wow.
Wow. And of course, Cash is saying there's no cause for alarm. In the next few years, you come out to contest the presidency. How are you so sure about that? And the votes for him and whitewash him just as they are doing with Peter Obi. Mind you, Peter Obi did worse than this. He even went as far as paying a hazard allowance of just 10 naira to firefighters in Anambra. That's something to talk about.
And away from those comments, now maybe to get some other comments. But in the meantime, if you owe, I don't want to mention their names, all the people that you owe money, if you owe them money and you have to pay back and you got 3,500 naira for your monthly salary, how do you pay them?
In street lingua, especially people who love to just catch cruise, they'll tell you, is it for a bar or for something else? Because what can 3,500 do for you?
Of course, just one more comment, I guess. Praise Hope says, these people are scared. The government should ensure their safety first.
That's, the best, let me see. It tops every other, thing to do in that state. And of course, finally this morning, Funtonga says the courts are irregular, but I think there were errors in the computation because some people who miss work only once or twice add substantial deductions from their salaries. It's unlikely to be a miscalculation. Pro rata payment has opened the doors for civil servants to steal, right? I want to believe that the state government is on top of the matter. If at all it was a case of miscalculation, I believe it's going to be sorted. And people who collected 3,500, they can't shoot it up.
Perhaps 35 will become 3,000 or let's say 3.5 million, maybe someday, somehow. Anyway, that's how much we will take today. My name is Anulu Akwedu. Thank you very much for joining us on this segment. Stay with us tomorrow, the same time, the same station, maybe the same host as well.
I'm not sure about that. My name is Oluwayemi Adelakun. Thank you for joining us this morning. We see you tomorrow. Stay safe.